Hello and welcome to Walk the Talk. I am Shekhar Gupta and my guest this week, well, a Delhi wala who's come back after almost 4 decades. United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत है. Welcome to Delhi.
How are you? नमस्ते जी, क्या हालचाल है?
बिल्कुल ठीक है and आप तो दिल्ली में वापस आए. Most people don't know that you were here and you actually learned Hindi.
It was 36 years ago in New Delhi. I registered at the Maximilian Bhavan.
Right.
And I studied some Hindi. At that time, I used to be a very good Hindi student.
But you remember
I forgot all.
You can still speak a few lines.
मेरा नाम ban Ki-moon है. आपका नाम क्या है?
मेरा नाम तो शेखर गुप्ता है.
क्या आप ठीक है?
मैं ठीक हूँ और आप ठीक है. दिल्ली में आके कैसा लगा after 4 decades? What seems different here?
There has been dramatic changes. The streets and all, so many cars, and
many of them Korean actually.
Much more Koreans are living and working in India. I'm very glad that all the spectrums of our life between Korea and India have changed to such a dramatic way, and it's a very good sign. I know that the business cooperation is thriving.
And the Korean business have really beaten the Japanese in India.
Korean business have been doing well, but I'm here to talk about the United Nations.
You know, more things change, more they remain the same sometimes. Mm-hmm. When you were here on your posting as a diplomat, as a Korean diplomat in 1970, India had just nationalized its banks. You've now come to India traveling around the world when all of the world's banks are being nationalized.
We are now living in a very difficult era, the global financial crisis. In fact, we are now living with so many multiple crises. We have been hit by food crisis, fuel, energy crisis. Then we have been working very hard to fight the climate change. Now all these...
And terrorism.
Yes, terrorism. All these very complex and difficult crises have been compounded by a global financial crisis. I'm working very hard together with the world leaders to address this
Tell us a little bit more about crisis. What you're doing on the global financial crisis.
Now, I'm very much concerned by this impact of financial crisis. My concern and my priority as the Secretary General of the United Nations is that this crisis should not give any negative impact to all major UN development goals, Millennium Development Goals, and our common effort to fight climate change. And I hope that world leaders, particularly developed countries, should keep their promise to implement their commitments.
But would you have preferred if the UN was playing a more central role in finding answers to the crisis?
The United Nations has been taking a leading role in major economic issues. We have been working very hard
because President Bush has called a summit, which probably, in the fitness of things, the UN, you should have called.
Yes, in fact, it does not matter who takes the leadership at this time, because this has impacted the whole international community. This is something which multilaterally